On today's episode of Beauty Behind the Brand, I'm going to give you 5 takeaways why I have a podcast. And it might be very surprising on really what a podcast can do for you, your brand, as well as your self-development. So let's dive into this episode because I think this is going to be a huge takeaway for anyone wanting to start a podcast, or even the way you think of podcasts. It might make you think a little different next time you listen to one. So let's dive in. So I was sitting here brainstorming and I thought, you know what? A great episode is actually talking about podcasting. And I was making some jot notes here as I usually do and kind of just go off a whim. And I was thinking, you know what? There's about 5 great reasons why I have a podcast. And I never really thought of these until probably, to be honest, the end of season 2. And reasons why we have it and what it's done for us as a company, a brand, as well as even my self-development and what I get out of it, recording and having guests on. So the first point I have here today is actually talking about content. I feel like it's such a fast moving pace world we're in, and it's always content, and you get that content burnout, to be honest. And that is something that I feel like we do a lot of batch content, which I absolutely love, but the podcast is actually great for that as well, where we're batching all this content. We've got all this video, as well as we've got the audios, and we're actually able to play around with that, as well as even connecting with our guests, where then we can share with them and collaborations on posts, as well as having that long-term format of audio and video that we can actually share on YouTube. And Danny has actually now had our YouTube channel up for Beauty Behind the Brand. So if you ever actually want to see me interviewing our guests, I don't usually record solos. I'll explain why later on, but the ones with our guests are just great because you can actually see our expression, you can see how engaged we are in the conversation, and it's great to put actually a name and a face together when we're interviewing our guests. It's something that I think as a millennial, I absolutely love YouTube. I think that's something I just love. If John's away on business or I'm home alone or wanting to have someone over without actually committing to have someone over, I just hop on YouTube and have one of my favorite YouTubes there. I usually listen to them, even sometimes if I'm cleaning the house or if I need some extra motivation. I always listen to YouTube or podcasts. With the long form content, I feel like it's really a way to get to know somebody. As a founder of 2 businesses and now a podcast host, there's ways that I want to get to get to know people or really create a brand and community around what I do. I had about 2 or 3 people ask me actually last week why I have a podcast. And that's why I wanted to record this episode, because it's actually creating that community, and it's getting people who maybe purchase our Muskoka Beauty products or do our online learning or are clients of the spa. It really gets them to know that there's more to me as the founder than just a business owner. They really get to see and hear what I have to say while interviewing people, or even things that I am passionate about, my day-to-day tasks, routines, things like that you wouldn't normally get on Instagram. So you actually get the day in the life and more of the inside view of what the actual owner or the founder of these companies are. That's also why I absolutely love interviewing them, because I've got 30 to 40 minutes actually one-on-one time to interview these guests. And to be honest, sometimes I have to remember I'm actually on a call with them because I've watched them or done prep for these interviews. So it's just mind-blowing to me, some of the guests we've had on, and having that content is so important because, like I said, it's shareable on some of their different feeds, and you can actually share it within your community. When you go to actually ask somebody else to be on your podcast, you can say, oh, I actually had this person on, and you might already be in their network while interviewing them, right? So it's kind of little stepping stones within those social circles that you're able to get into. With that being said too, it's great because we can take little snippets of each one of those interviews and actually share it on Instagram, or even when it comes to LinkedIn, those different places that people might not actually think about, but they can easily click it and then listen and or watch to the podcast. So I feel like LinkedIn is something I don't really use, but it's something that we could definitely take more advantage of. Same with actually Pinterest. That's something else I've listened to a lot of, is uploading some of those pictures of maybe your podcast brand shoot you did, but then actually linking your podcast, either it's Buzzsprout or wherever you upload your podcast, so then anyone can click it and listen, and or your YouTube channel. So that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love it. And anyone who knows us, we love our content and we love batching content. So it's a win-win overall. Makes our lives a lot easier. So with that, I have connecting with people. That's my second point on this list today is connecting with people. That is something I find being 2 hours north of the city. I sometimes feel disconnected with what's going on in the world, but I mentally just love living in the country. I love having open space. The city is just not my cup of tea. I think just because I was raised here. So the city, I'll still visit and go socialize and all the things, but I sometimes miss having those like-minded people. And that's why I absolutely love the podcast, where I can actually just jump on a call with somebody. We can have that heart to heart, that business motivation conversation, anything and everything. And it just fills my cup so much having these conversations. And like I said, it's just being in the mind of these like high performers who just have so many things you can take into action, and you can actually thrive on just some of the key points that they might have in these interviews and actually implement them into your everyday life or your business, or learning from them. It's like when you read a book or a biography about someone, it's like they're telling you the things that they struggled with and how they overcame them. And it's kind of like podcasting too. You're actually, oh, what would you do different? Or what's something that you would highly recommend? And you're asking those questions for the audience, but I also take those notes for myself of what I want to do that they're doing that's making them so successful. Hey there, beauty entrepreneurs and self-care enthusiasts. Are you looking to enhance your beauty business with a top-tier lash serum, or simply seeking to elevate your own beauty routine? Look no further than Muskoka Beauty Lash and Brow Enhancing Serum. Proudly made in Canada, our serum offers the perfect blend of nourishing ingredients to naturally enhance your lashes and define those gorgeous brows. Whether you're aiming to retail a sought-after product or enhancing your personal beauty, Muskoka Beauty has you covered. And here's an exclusive offer just for our podcast listeners. Enjoy a fantastic 15% off discount on your order. Simply use the promo code podcast15 when visiting muskoka.com to claim your savings. Again, that's promo code podcast15 for 15% off our lash and brow serum. By the way, it is our best sellers, so can't wait to see your before and afters. And a lot of them, to be honest, are so flattered to be on your podcast. That's something that I absolutely love, is sending that email, or like our marketing team will do that, where they're sending an email to someone on our list or my dream list. I've had a list for so long of people that just keep coming to mind that I want on the podcast or have them back on again. And that's something I love, is like we're able to give them something. It's like we're asking them, but it's like, would you like to be a guest? Like, how I get so excited when someone asks me to be on their podcast. I just feel absolutely honored. And that's what I hope they feel as well when we ask them to be on our podcast. And making the booking systems really seamless. We just use Calendly as like our link in our emails. And it's a great way. I just open up my schedule whenever works for me for these calls, and they're able to schedule them in. And to be honest, it's amazing. It's really easy for me. I see in my schedule every week, I usually have 1 or 2 podcasts to record, and it's something I look forward to. And it's something that I can connect with them as well. And those follow up, and I can get into their DMs, or I can send them an email with their assistants. So we're all kind of interconnected, which is great. And sending their biographies as well as their photos ahead of time. So staying really organized, because after, I guess it was probably midway through season 2, we really started to get kind of a flow going. And the outreach, I feel like you can send someone a DM, you can send them a DM, but sometimes like email, or if they have an assistant or an info email, it's great to connect that way, because they might have an assistant that's able to get you in their books and get them on your podcast. So there's just so many reasons why I love a podcast, but the connection with these entrepreneurs just fills my cup so much. And I feel like I'm like giddy when I'm on them. I have to watch how much caffeine I've had, but I absolutely I just have like this positive vibration when I'm on these calls with them. Maybe eventually we'll be able to do in person, but I absolutely love it. So just that alone is probably one of my like main reasons why I do the podcast. My third one is actually referral codes, and actually how you can kind of sell what your offering is, if that makes sense. So as a business owner, obviously it was hard, to be honest. I didn't really think of ads or any of that kind of stuff in season 1. And then as I was listening to more and more podcasts, especially high performers that came to mind, I was like, you know what? They're doing like these social plugs where they're plugging in like these online courses that they might be offering, or products that they're selling, affiliate links. Like I absolutely love all the affiliates we work with and ones I use daily. And why not get it's like telling a friend anyways. And I'm sure people on the podcast love to hear what I use or what I recommend, or even maybe one of the programs that we use to run our business. And that's what I really like about the referral codes, and people who are listening. A lot of the time, the people that are listening to our podcast know me either personally or know the businesses. And that's why I think it's nice to be able to have that transparency with what I'm using daily, and being able to offer them something that they might actually be looking into already and offering them that discount. Back to actually having connection and guests on, that's another thing we do as well, is we always ask our guests, like, is there a promo or a loyalty program, or do you have something that we could offer our guests in order to try your product or your service, which is also a really nice way for them to start gaining clients, as well as customers. It's just a nice segue to close out that kind of like that episode, I guess, or bring it in where people can actually connect, or they might actually jump online and click the link to see their website. But even for us, like, I always want to tell people about our bestseller, our Lash and Brow Enhancing Serum. And it's something that I think anyone would benefit from, whether it's lashes or brows. Like, if you want that clean girl aesthetic, I personally use it every day. Same with like Good Protein's a great example. I use their protein every day. I get asked that a lot, like my nutrition and what I do. Factor foods, I literally eat one of those at least once or twice a day. Can't live without them. Even Buzzsprout, like, I'm just thinking of all our affiliate links and all the things we use. I use these things every day and I can't live without them. And to be honest, like, the referral links are great. Like, when people use my referral link for Good Protein, for example, it's just basically letting me being able to purchase more of that protein that I would already be purchasing. And it's just a nice way to keep the momentum going for keeping your mental state and your health and wealth and all the things kind of in tuned. And that's where I'm like, oh, if I'm having great results from these proteins or these meal plans, why wouldn't I share this with some of the people that are in my internal circle, like you listening to our podcast? Because if I benefit from it, obviously you will as well. And if you know me personally, I'm going to tell you about them anyways, because they're like the thing I do and I can't live without. Same with our online courses with our business. Like, it's great because we have a lot of online courses and they don't have to be in person, where someone who's listening to this on different parts of Canada, for example, can jump online and benefit from starting their beauty brand or beauty business, taking some of our lash and brow enhancing or lash and brow lift and lamination courses. And that's going to benefit us, but it's also going to benefit them, where they're trusting in us as a brand and myself to get these courses and actually be able to grow and know that they're not alone after they take the course. That's another great thing I love about our brand, is we've really created a community where we're there to help you all the way through. If you're calling our phone number on muskoka.com, it's going to be me who's receiving that call usually. Same with on the emails, a lot of it's me. The DMs, it's either Danny or myself. We're a really small team, and that's what I absolutely love, where podcasting for me is like kind of that fun part, where it's like bringing all the things I love about entrepreneurship and beauty into one place, if that makes sense, even personal stuff as well. And it's something that I think when someone asks me why I do the podcast, I think a huge part of it is community, but it's also the way for me to help people, and having kind of that resource, like that library, to be able to actually show people, like if they have a question. Like, I'm on some beauty entrepreneur pages, and someone had a question about an open house, or even one of my best friends had the same thing. And I was able to just send them literally the link of the podcast I recorded of like a 30-minute deep dive into open houses and why they're so important and how to plan ahead and all the little things I've learned from doing these for 8 years, and the do's and don'ts, and maybe why you should be charging a ticket price or why you shouldn't be charging a ticket price, and how to do outreach and advertising and marketing. And that's what I love about it, is you're kind of batching a bunch of content, like our first point we were talking about, but it's also great because it's creating that library of things that you can share with your community. And even though we're in the beauty industry, I have sent that information to other people that were opening a gym, or someone that was opening a restaurant, of different ways to have a grand opening. And when you're doing a podcast, it's really hard sometimes to niche down to something so specific. But with us, like we had to niche down to beauty per se, but within beauty, there's so many different things, as you know. There's so many umbrellas underneath umbrellas, and it's just layered in so many different ways. And that's why I feel like with the entrepreneurs that we have on, a lot of them are beauty and wellness related, but we take something from all of them that we can implement in our businesses. And like I said, even within ourselves and our day to day. But with those back to the referral codes and links, and not sounding salesy, I think it's like a general, kind of curiosity. Like people might be like, oh, what does Nicole do for her protein shakes? As we know, like I'm a very active person. So people might wonder what I like to use as a protein, for example, or my meal plan, since I am such a busy entrepreneur. Both John and I literally work nonstop, but like creating that balance, like I hate cooking. I don't know about you, but like I will clean my house a million times, but I literally hate cooking. It's just like the mess and the time. And like, by the time I want to make something, I am so hangry. Like I just want to rip the friggin' fridge door right off. So that's why the Factor foods just made sense for me. We were doing some other boxes as well, and I just found the Factor foods was just easy for me. I'm sure a lot of people think it's pure laziness, but to be honest, if you don't enjoy doing something and you have to do it like 2-3 times a day, then why wouldn't you find a solution? That's my opinion. So if you are looking at Factor, I'm sure we can create that as one of our ads or drop downs on this episode. But yeah, find things that work for you. I always want to share some of the things that I can't live without and things that are going to make your life easier that I've learned through the hard way of day-to-day struggles, all the things. Our next one is you can do podcasting anywhere. So I, to be honest, have the easiest setup. I just literally am recording this on the voice memo app on my phone. I'm just sitting here in my office and I'm just recording it. That's why with the solos, I usually don't actually record them, just because it's either really late at night or in the morning, or it's like, to be honest, I've recorded in my car while sitting in a parking lot waiting for an appointment because I'm always early. So that's what I like about podcasting. There is like really low startup. Like you really can just do it from your iPhone. Buzzsprout, that is a great way to start. That was the platform we used to start, or we currently use as well, is uploading all of them, editing. You can do your plug and plays. It sends you a report every week as well, which I love. So you can see how many downloads you've had. Even your episode, which ones were rated the highest. You can see like kind of the drop off rates of where people aren't listening anymore in the episode. Buzzsprout is amazing if you are looking to start a podcast. We actually have an affiliate with them as well. But if you're looking to jump on and like don't know where to start, Buzzsprout is great. They have a really good YouTube channel as well. Just kind of walks you through all the things and how to get started. Customer service is great. But like we just started an Instagram page, and then we used Buzzsprout, which are like, I forget what the monthly rate is for Buzzsprout, but it's not much at all. And then I have a mic, but not very often I use it, to be honest. And I usually just use my audio on my computer or my AirPods or my microphone on my phone. And yeah, that's all it costs. And then obviously, like if you're going to edit, that takes time and reach out and all the things. So I have a team that are able to help me with that. And I think my team likes it because it gives them diversity within the week of like, oh, some days I'm going to be doing stuff for Muskoka Beauty, but then I'm also going to have stuff going on with the podcast, and it gives them some time to do some editing or just different kind of content. But yeah, you can do it anywhere. Like I've been on vacation and I'm like, oh, I have to record an ad for this, or I have to record an intro, and I can just send it off on email and then Danny's able to edit it. So I think it's one of those things like we do with a lot of things. We overthink and we don't know where to start. Just start batching. Like that's what I love about it. It's like my own personal journaling. When we go on breaks for like 2 months between seasons, or 2 or more months, I almost just don't know what to do with myself. And a lot of the time I just start pre-batching content, or if something has happened in my life, I personally just feel like talking through. I'm not like I don't really journal. And I think that podcasting is almost more like my journaling than anything. And people can benefit from it. People can relate to you. Some of the more like really like vulnerable episodes are usually the ones that do great. And I sometimes, to be honest, I record these and I forget that we have like 3,000 people plus, I think, that download our that are like downloaded on the Beauty Behind the Brand podcast on Buzzsprout. And I'm like, wow, 3,000 people actually care about what I have to say. And when I sit here in my office and I'm recording, a lot of the time I kind of don't think like that. I think well, now I'm going to overthink now that I know like 3,000 people are listening, but a lot of the time I'm just myself, and I just am talking kind of in that perspective of me telling somebody, but it's really me telling myself the things that I need to do and kind of putting it out to the world and manifesting that. So that is some of the reasons why, like, you can do it anywhere. Really don't overthink starting a podcast. Like I said, we just started it when the pandemic had happened, and we needed to get these meaningful conversations I was having with other entrepreneurs as well as in the beauty industry. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it's like my bigger purpose. Yeah, I can create service menus and a spa and products and sell it out like globally, but to be able to actually connect with people on this type of level is like, I feel like it's like my calling. I don't know. It's like, it's weird. I'm like my mom says, I have the gift of gab, but I feel like there's like a reason why I am so drawn to podcasts, and I literally listen to them nonstop. Like if I'm in my car, I don't even remember the last time I had the radio on. Probably when I was driving with my sister or something, because like we wouldn't really listen to a podcast if we were there because we'd be too busy chatting. But even John and I, if we're driving back and forth from Muskoka to Toronto, we always have a podcast on. If I'm driving anywhere, I have a podcast on. If I'm out walking, I always have a podcast on. So it's something that I love to hear from our guests or even our community is like, what are some of the podcasts you're also listening to, and why? Why do they just light you up, and why are some of the reasons that you keep listening? And is it because of the brand? Is it because of the founder? Is it because of the takeaways on each one? It's entertaining. Like there's just so many reasons. And I have like, I would say most of mine are business related, but I also am starting to find ones that are kind of cheeky that get me kind of laughing as I'm walking by myself down the road, right? So yeah, let us know what podcasts you listen to, because I always love to find some new ones or like really open up the library of my podcast app of other ones I could be getting takeaways from, or even learning some interview skills, which I love. Are you needing wellness hacks that are just easy and seamless? Well, let me tell you about SIIP Bone Broth. This is something I can't live without, and it's really easy as they come in their own individual packages for travel, and or if you're going away for a weekend, just throw a couple in your cooler or in your backpack and you're ready to go. They are great for supporting joints, collagen, protein, healthy gut, containing, like I said, high quality protein too. Helps with elasticity and even electrolytes. And what I love about SIIP is they are actually a husband and wife team out of Toronto, and they are giving us an exclusive discount of 10% off using our promo code Beauty Brand Podcast for 10% off. I have been using it for years. I love it on a cold day. If it's raining out, I love it as just like a little midday pickup, and or even cooking. I love putting it in any chicken noodle soups or any stews that I'm doing, or stir fries. It is absolutely amazing with so many benefits. So remember, Beauty Brand Podcast 10 for 10% off SIIP Bone Broth. So my other one, well, I kind of touched on two of the points there. I was going to say low startup costs. Obviously, we talked about that during this point, but yeah, don't overthink it. I think Buzzsprout's about $25 a month, really, really low fee to get started. And if you don't have someone who can do your editing for you, it doesn't take time at all. And really don't overthink it. Like Danny and I were talking about that, is sometimes if you over edit a podcast and you're like, oh, I said that, or I mean, I mess up and I trip up, or I don't pronounce things correctly or whatever, but like we're all human. And I think that's, if you're editing and going through the podcast too much to perfect it, people aren't going to find you relatable. And I'm not really a perfectionist, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, but don't overanalyze everything you say. To be honest, when I was a kid, I hated the sound of my voice. Even, when your parents' house would have the like voicemail where it would actually talk out loud when you'd get home from school, or if you had to click the button for your parents because there was a message on the machine, like I hated my voice. And that was something I really had to get over, especially doing content and social media for the spa and our product line. And then I just learned, like, I'm just being really hard on myself. I just don't like my voice because it's my voice. And my sister and I actually have like almost the exact same voice, which is crazy. And that's where I was like, I don't find her voice annoying and I feel like it's fine. And I don't know why I'm thinking that, but because it is my voice, I'm being hard on myself. So if you're the same, if you don't like your voice or you feel like you don't know how to kind of create a sentence to make it make sense, it all comes. Like, trust me, I listened back to our first episodes and I thought I was doing okay. And then I look back and forth from now to then, and I'm like, wow, we have come a long way. And that is also part of the reason why I love the podcast, because I can actually look back and hear those episodes of like some of the struggles we went through back when we had launched the podcast and some of the things we were going through in the product line business, the spa, and we were actually able to overcome them. And it was like that journaling experience of being able to see how far we have come as individuals, as a company, as self-development, some of the things I've had to grow up and realize, like being hard on myself, for example, is all growing pains and we all go through it. So try not to be hard on yourself if you are thinking about starting even a business, podcast, all the things, just one step at a time, and try not to be too much of a perfectionist. You've just got to get started. So I could talk all day about podcasts because it is actually just like, I feel like it's a hobby within itself. And it's something I just do without even thinking. Like I said, I listen to like 2 or more podcasts a day. I just absolutely love it. And I just want to hear from our community some of the reasons why you listen to our podcast and some of the takeaways, so I can really make sure that I'm touching all those points during episodes, whether it's interviewing or solos, and really make sure you're kind of getting that those takeaways, but things that are going to help you grow and see different sides of your business, yourself, the world in general, like different ways that I can kind of help you think differently. And whether you're just starting a business or you're already in a business or you listen to this for more motivation, I'd love to hear about it. Just send us a DM even on our Instagram page, because I want to hear how I can make this podcast better and really get in the ears of more people that need to hear this, and share it with friends or family or even colleagues that could really benefit from this podcast. Because like I said, there's just so many reasons why I do it, and it just fills my cups up so much. Like it literally overflows. And the community we've built, to be honest, I don't even log into Buzzsprout to know how many downloads we have. I think we got announced on about being one of the top beauty entrepreneur podcasts last year, and I got an email about it and I clicked it and I had no idea. I think the numbers don't matter to me because I'm going to do it anyways, and I think it just organically grows. It's also one of the things that will take time. It's kind of like starting a new Instagram account, right? It'll take time. I don't want to buy followers. I don't want to, it's not about that for me. It's just like, I just want to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons and I'm reaching the right people. So if you are listening to this, I'm glad you're one of those people. And please let us know how we can help our community on our Instagram page. And please share, give us a review. It really helps us to know what we're doing and making sure we're doing it right. So love you all. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you have any questions about starting a podcast, please reach out because I'm always here to help.